Alright fellas, today we're going to do some 300 blackout brass. As you can see, I've got my little 2-inch bench top cutoff saw, and I have here a once fired military. This is a Lake City case, 223 to start, and I'm going to run you through the steps, show you how I do it. There are more than one ways to skin a cat, obviously, when it comes to the reloading of brass in your case prep. So I'll show you how I go through about my case prep, and as for the whole loading part, I'll leave that part up to you. But I'm going to do a quick run over real quick with exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to run that case through my saw. I've got the jig. It's got a little spring-loaded check ball here, so the case literally just slides in. When it gets to the rim at the back, that ball locks it in, so it's at the same, going to cut it off the same length every time. And at that point, because these saws are notorious for not getting perfect, you will have to trim, and we're going to run all the way over here. I use a Hornady case prep center to trim all my brass, and for trimming down your straight walled case for 300 blackout rather, it works exceptionally well. It sure as hell beats a Lee cutter and lock stud and case length gauge, which I've got a few of them back there, as you can see. Checked out the market for power case trimmers and decided to go that route, and I'm glad I did. Won't actually run you through the whole tumbling process, but I normally tumble after I trim all my 223 brass after I've cut it and then trimmed it down to 300 blackout. So I leave it as a straight wall case, throw it in the tumbler, then I'll run it through my 300 blackout die after I've gotten them all dug out, got case lube put on them. Then I'll sonic clean them, and then at that point, after they've been sonic cleaned, then everything is nice and shiny and clean, and you get a whole bunch of basically brand new 300 blackout brass that is ready for primer. And after a little while, well, you stock up on a few. When I get all this here primed, then I'm looking at about 600 rounds, and I'll finish off that ammo box there. And I'll make a run of some 100-grain plinking rounds. There are frangible bullets. Yes, they are ugly. They look like shit, but for plinking, they're going to work in my gun. They actually work exceptionally well, being a frangible bullet. I'm not a big fan of them for other target rounds, say a 223, but for 300 blackout, they're going to work. So without further ado, I've already wasted enough time. Let's get down to business and show you exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be kind of loud, but not loud enough that I can't do it without waking the wife or the kid. And that pops out, so as you can see, now you're left with a straight wall case. Does a pretty decent job of cutting. I didn't do it very well on that one. I should have let the blade spool up a little bit better. But then we're going to take it over here, and we will slide her in there, lock it down, and this is already set. This is like any other case trimmer that you mess with that's not already set up. You have to adjust for your case length and everything. I've got it set at minimum. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to trim it down. It's perfectly square when I'm done. And also at minimum for the 300 blackout cartridge. And at this point we're going to have to deburr it. And I like to put a little chamfer on mine as well. It just cleans them up, especially on this round, having to cut it down and everything. It's a good idea to run it through both sets of tools, because it makes for a really nice clean case mouth. And at this point I would tumble it leave the spent primer in. I tumble in walnut hull media, which some people use corncob. There's no big deal. I mean, it's whatever you want to use or do. And then I'll run it through my 300 blackout die. And given that it's Lake City brass, I'm going to have to remove the primer crimp, which I do by reaming. Which, by the way, your chamfering tool here does an exceptional well job of reaming the crimp off of your primer pocket. So after I take care of that, I'll run them through my sonic cleaner, and it's set on, these are seconds. I'll run 2 480-second cycles, and then my last cycle will be for 380 seconds. Then when it comes out, after all that mess, then it looks like this. I ran this through the sonic cleaner about 36 hours ago, and it is indeed dry, ready for primer. And this is what it looks like. Basically, it's brand new brass at this point. And of course, after primer, you know what a primed case looks like, ready for reloading. And you get enough of them stocked up that you're comfortable with making a run. Maybe you've got a single stage. Well, we all start with a single stage somewhere in life. Start reloading your rounds. I reload all my 300 blackout stuff on a Hornady AP progressive press, and makes life a lot easier using a progressive press on brass on cartridges that you've got to crimp. And at this point, with no bullet feeder and no case feeder, I'm at about 300 rounds an hour. So makes my 223 and my 300 blackout go a heck of a lot quicker. And I make caliber changes pretty quick. I've got the bushings, and all I got to do is, that's simple. Change my powder cop die, and that takes care of that. I've got metering inserts here. The one that's in there is 20 grains of Hodgdon Little Gun. This one is 18 grains of Hodgdon Little Gun. And if I want to go back to 223, well, here's 22.5 grains of Ramshot Exterminator. All I have to do is put the shell in, throw the arm, it opens it up, and I change out the metering insert. It's that simple. I change my powder charge that quick. I can go from one bullet to the next in either 223 or 300 blackout, and I don't have to do anything. I can change, all I got to do is push a button, pull the thing out, and I'm on to the next one. So, making your own 300 blackout brass is not difficult, by no means. It does take a little bit of time. It's just like any other reloading, though. I mean, you want to take your time at it. It's rather enjoyable. Don't get in a big rush or hurry to do anything, and you're going to be left with good quality rounds. If you have any questions or comments, please post that in the comment section. And without further ado, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.